So now let's say the other requirement that we have is now, um, we have taken the count of the employees for the job title. We have only collected the employees, the job titles for which the employees were more than or greater than 4. Now, what I want to do is I want to sort that data in my output flat file. I want it to appear in a sorted way, sorted by the job title. So what can I do now? Which transformation can I use? So there is another transformation which is called the sort transformation, and which is over here. So now I can use this sort transformation. So I'll just bring the stage over here. My flat file destination is over here. So now this link should go here. So I would just remove this connection from here. From the condition split again, point the output over here, select the correct link name, the employee greater than 4. Okay. Goes to the sort option. From the sort, whatever is the output goes to the flat file destination. All right. So now let's see how we can define the sorting in the sort dialog box. So double click on the sort transformation. The transformation editor will open up and you can see all these options which are present. Pass through means you want these in your output. You want them to pass through in your output. Now what we want to do is basically sort by the job title. So select the column over here based on which you want to do the sorting. So I want to sort by the job title. The sort type is basically ascending. I can define it as descending based on my requirement. I can define it as descending, which we'll see when we implement the data warehouse, the slowly changing dimension that we want, how we can use all these characteristics. The sort order would be 1. Comparison flags are similar. You want to ignore the case, you want to ignore the characters, ignore symbols, ignore punctuations and all that. So you can define all those characteristics as well. So now job title ascending, if I would have been having more number of columns, I could have selected the other columns I want to sort by. So sort order is basically, let's say I want also the employee count to be sorted. So it would define you, the first sorting would be on the job title. Within the job titles, if the employee count repeats, then the second order of the sort would be your employee count. So it would be something in a SQL statement like order by job title, employee count. Now, if I change this, I make this as 1 and I make this as 2, then my query in the SQL server would appear like order by employee count, comma, job title. That is your sorting order. So we do not want to sort by employee count, so let's just remove it. By default, this would take it as 1. Now, we have achieved our requirement, whatever we wanted. Now, there's one other option which we can see over here, which says remove rows with duplicate sort values. So let's say in our data, which is coming as input to the sort transformation, we have 2 records which have the same job title. So what do I need to do in that case? Do I need to sort them? Or do I need to retain those 2 records, or do I need to remove rows with duplicate sort values? So you can check this option and then it would work as a remove duplicate transform as well. So it would basically, if you want to remove the duplicates from your data, you can use a sort stage, you can sort by the column on which you are suspecting duplicates, and then you can check this column, remove rows with duplicate sort values, and would remove all duplicate data from your input stream. So you can use this option and it would work as a remove duplicate transformation. So basically in the output you would get distinct values. So it would be a select distinct from your source data. So that is how it would work. So the sort transformation can also be used to select only distinct data coming from the input source. All right. So for now, we do not want that to happen. So we can just leave that as it is and just say, okay. And now I have this flow. Everything seems to be defined fine. Flat file destination, just re-verify the mappings once they are defined fine. So we are okay. So save it again and just execute this. So we'll see build complete, 0 errors, 0 warnings, check marks, green check marks across all the stages. So it should have happened correctly. 10 rows came here, 10 rows got sorted and written to the flat file destination. Let's stop debugging. Let's go back, and it has been overwritten at 8:35 a.m. Let's go back and check the employee count. And as you can see, it has been ordered based on the job title in an ascending order. So that is what we defined. All right. So this is how you can perform the sorting transformation as well. So these are the various kind of transformations we can perform. There are various other kind of transformations which are a little more complicated, which we would be seeing in our upcoming sessions. But this is all to give you an idea of how the different transformations can be done. Now, since we have seen quite a bit of transformations, let's explore some other concept that's called the synchronous and the asynchronous transformation. So there's something called the synchronous and asynchronous transformations. Let me write it down for you. Synchronous and asynchronous transformations. So what are synchronous and asynchronous transformations? Asynchronous transformations are basically transformations which cannot be executed row by row or record by record, which means that they need to read the entire set of input records or input data, store it in the memory, and then perform their operation. That is an asynchronous transformation. Now, looking at this figure, which transformation do you think would be an asynchronous transformation? So if we look at our design, we are doing an aggregation. The first transformation that we have used is an aggregation. So aggregation, what we are doing here is counting the number of employees, grouping by the job title. So can this be done record by record? It can be done. It cannot be done record by record, that is for sure, because you need to hold the job title and all the related employees in the memory, that data in the memory, then you need to perform a count on that. So you need to hold the data in the memory for each job title. So it's not that you just read the first record, perform some calculation, output that record. So that cannot happen. So this is some kind of synchronous. You do not need to hold all the job titles all at once, but you need to hold some records at least. So you need to hold all the records, all the employee records for each job title that you have in memory. So you need to hold some records in the memory. So we'll see whether it's synchronous or asynchronous. What is conditional split? Conditional split was simply when the employee count was greater than 4. So can this be executed record by record? This can be executed record by record, right? You have 10 records coming in, so it would check for each record. The first record, is the employee count greater than 4? Yes, no. Output that record. For the second record, read the second record. Is the employee count greater than 4? Yes, no. Output that record, and so on. So it can read one record, perform its operation, and output that record. It does not need to hold anything in memory. So that's a totally synchronous transformation. So that is reading one record, performing operations or transformations record by record. That is a synchronous transformation. It's efficient. It's very efficient because you do not need to hold a lot of data in your memory, so that would not slow down your process. So these operations are always faster. Now let's go to the third operation that we have performed over here, which is the sort operation or the sort transformation. How would the sorting be done? Now we have sorted by the job title. So to sort by the job title, for this transformation to happen, all the data for all the job titles needs to be in the memory, and then only the sorting would happen. So for the sort operation, all the data actually needs to be in the memory, read in the memory. Only then the sorting can be calculated, and only then all the data will be outputted. So it cannot happen record by record or row by row. So this is a totally asynchronous operation or transformation. Now these are obviously a lot slower because a lot of data needs to be in the memory. So the memory is held up for some time, and that slows down the process and the performance. So these are a little weak in the performance. These will pull down the performance of your job. Now going back to the aggregate transformation. So that becomes a partially synchronous transformation because you do not need to hold all the data in the memory, but you need to hold parts of data in the memory. So that is a partially synchronous transformation. So what do we have here? We have sort as a totally asynchronous transformation. We have the conditional split as a totally synchronous transformation, and aggregate as a partially synchronous transformation. Now, as we said, totally asynchronous transformations are pull down the performance of your ETL workflow, and that's why you should be targeting to avoid them if you can while designing your ETL workflow. So for example, if you want to do the sorting, you're reading from a database table and you want to sort the data while reading from the table, then it's always advisable to do the sorting by using an order by clause in your SQL command for reading the data, because these operations are always faster at a database level. Similarly, for aggregate operations, if they can be done at your SQL level, do them at your SQL level. So aggregate levels can get very complicated, and not all of them can be done at the SQL level. So it is an optimum choice that you have to make. Which operation can be easily done at the SQL level, which operation should be efficiently done at your ETL design level. So you have to make an optimum wise decision for using the aggregations at which level. The conditional split should always be done at your ETL design level. It's a very synchronous operation, and it performs row by row, so it's very fast. So that is how you have to design your ETL workflow, keeping all these things in mind. So asynchronous and synchronous transformations, or you can say active and passive transformations, they are called in some of the ETL languages. So this is what they mean, and this is how you design an efficient ETL workflow. So all these small things you have to keep in mind while you want to design your ETL workflow. Okay. So any questions on this so far? Okay, so I'm assuming no. If you have any questions, just type them in and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so now that we have 15 minutes left, I can cover one more task if you wish, or if it has been a lot of tasks for you, then we can stop and we can proceed in our next session. So